What if you were the living embodiment of all pervasive peace? What if all sentient beings all around you increased their vibration towards harmony by merely being in your contact? What if through conscious reasoning, focused will, and intentional living, you reform yourself, thereby becoming a catalyst and sparking transformation in others? I'm Shilpa Lewis, meditation and mindfulness coach for midlife mompreneurs, and you are listening to Omni Present Awareness, the podcast that will inspire you to use your story to serve humanity in not just healing, but thriving as souls, each fulfilling their highest purpose. Welcome to Omni Present Awareness with Shilpa. This is your host, Shilpa Lewis, owner and founder of Omni Mindfulness Coaching. Before we get started, if you haven't already booked a free discovery session with me, click on the link in the description. I'm a holistic transformational life coach, specializing in helping midlife mompreneurs bring balance, clarity, and life alignment, both personally and professionally, so that you may live your best life. There is tremendous healing value in simply being able to know someone is holding authentic space for you to listen and be accessible as an accountability partner and mentor. If you feel overwhelmed, or if you feel the need for some support navigating life as a mother or as an entrepreneur, I would love to provide you with my coaching. If any anecdotes from the stories of the guests from this episode or any of the podcast episodes resonate with you, or if you find any value at all from the content from these episodes, then consider booking a free discovery call with me. Together, we can manifest my vision to be instrumental in the biggest rise in consciousness and awareness and human transformation. And now, here is today's episode. Hey, Tanya, long time no see.
Hello, Shilpa. We are laughing, guys, because we literally talk to each other every single day. Our sons have become like best friends. So bear with us with our little inside jokes.
Although we've never actually met face to face, it's all been a Zoom friendship.
Yeah, all Zoom, all a virtual friendship, which is flourishing, and it's just great.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, without further ado, Tanya, I have questions for you.
Yes, spit him out. And sorry, guys, you're gonna hear my son. He's with us today.
And I had to close the window, so. Okay, tell us about yourself, Tanya. How you arrived at becoming a mompreneur.
Okay, so about myself, I feel like that's such a loaded question every time I hear it, and I get to ask people that all the time. And the language is such a powerful tool, and I have become very conscious and mindful of the language I use on a day-to-day. So we tend to, as a society, give labels to everything, and I'd like people to challenge themselves to look beyond the labels and think of each quote unquote little title as a multifaceted entity. Everyone, is a multifaceted entity that is wrapped in mystery and all that life brings. So yeah, I don't know if that makes sense to people listening, but anyways, okay. So that being said, here are a couple things that I can say about myself. I'm a mother of 3 amazing children. My husband and I recently celebrated about 10 years of marriage. When I say about, people who've been married for a long time, you know what I mean by about. It's roughly. I have a little over 20 years of experience in customer relations in the medical field. I'm passionate about self-development, and that helps me in all aspects of my life. I played basketball for many years. So from elementary school all the way up until university, I played for the University of Concordia here in Montreal. And I mentioned that because I think it had a little something to do with my entrepreneurial spirit and my love of the human connection. I had an amazing set of now women who have become my very close friends that I've gotten through basketball. And so I'm very grateful about that. And the connection I've made with those people is just so strong. I was very shy as a child, and I had no sisters, so they became like my sisters, and it kind of got me out of my shyness. That and my amazing family and other friends just makes me love being around people and, yearning for that connection. And I think it's a great segue to the second part of the question, how I arrived at becoming a mompreneur. And to do that, I'll say that I've always had that lean towards entrepreneurship. I ventured into a couple of MLMs, multi-level marketing businesses, until I decided to go on to create Xenia Coaching. And then my children have helped me, or have helped give me the title of mompreneur, right? Because, you're not a mompreneur if you don't have children. Although you can be a mompreneur, I think, and have like pets or just be that kind of nurturing soul. I think that should go out there in the world too. It's not necessarily, having children, human children. So I'd say I've arrived at becoming a mompreneur through my need to connect with people at a deeper level. And of course, my deep desire to contribute. It would also be a huge disservice to anyone listening if I omitted welcoming a life of abundance. I really want that for myself and my family. A life of financial freedom is inevitable when business is done right. So I'm asking the universe, I'm waiting. It's coming, like full abundance, like, really pouring of abundance. I'm waiting. It's coming. I'm already very blessed. And by done right, I mean truly wanting what is best for the person you're serving. That's what I mean by done right. So yeah, that's about it. So Shilpa, tell our audience a little about yourself and how you arrived at becoming a mompreneur.
Well, okay. Let's start with something that really struck me when you were saying how language is critical in communication and connection. I've always been very conscientious of words that I use. And it's interesting because as a mindfulness practitioner, and I call myself a practitioner because I'm not perfect, but a mindfulness practitioner, I do have a very keen awareness of what I say and how I say it. And one of my favorite quotes, and I have to figure out who said it, but it's words can be windows or it can be a wall.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, and so I want to hone in on that because you mentioned the multifaceted nature of who you are, and that I'll go into that deeper as I explain why I want to be a mompreneur. But let's just say words and being multifaceted is like one of my core values, and how I communicate with others is very essentially part of my personality. Like I enjoy it, but I also am very conscientious of the words and labels that I use. And that also helps our children as they start perceiving the world. Okay, so a little bit about where I'm at in my life right now. I'm a mom of a 8-year-old child, but I'm only a mom of one child. And I honor all the souls who can take care of more than one soul because I have a good one. But it being a mom to me was interesting because I'm an older mom. And so I was like in my 30s when I got married, and I think I was in my early 40s by the time I had my son. And there was a whole new mindset I needed to have going to like elementary school and preschool, where the people that are dropping off their children look like they could be children themselves. It was a different mindset, but I had spent most of my adult life in corporate, and it was a whole faceted, multifaceted world in of itself, but a world that had taken so much energy out of me, and that at some point, my journey was, well, I'd like to get married. I'd like to meet someone one day. And that'll be a new podcast one day. I'll go into that, how I met my husband. But I was like, I don't know, in my late 30s, and I finally met him. It was instant. It was connection. And the moment I met him, there was like this little seed of thought that came into my head, like, do I really want to go back to corporate? But I stayed for another 10 years. But I remember telling him and researching, if I were to become an entrepreneur, what would it take? What would I want to do? So I started kind of dabbling, if that's a right word, in the world of becoming an entrepreneur. I shortly, like before 2019, or in the early part of 2019, even started a catering business. And I've always loved to cook, and I considered, well, do I want to do that? And that's another podcast on its own. But let's just say, fast forward to now, 2019, I did a tremendous amount of soul searching, and a good childhood friend came to visit. And I think there are moments where the universe is just trying to nudge you and talk to you, and it cuts your communication through somebody you can trust. And this friend brought light to my life. She reminded me that, wow, I mean, you have this incredible relationship with your husband, a beautiful child, a beautiful home. You have a good life. And I remember the very next day going for a walk with my husband and son. It was really sunny and beautiful. And I thought, I'm ready to be brave enough to try something new. And I had been researching different programs for meditation coaching. And I decided to get braver because I hadn't been working for a couple of years. I on again a little bit of consulting and contract. And I decided I'm going to go ahead and sign up for a program. And the program was to start in 2020. And ironically, the program started the week we went into lockdown. You know, in case you haven't heard, there was a world pandemic.
And it happened to be the program where we met.
The program where we met. And it was life-changing. I sincerely could see that I could not only transform myself, reform myself continually as a practitioner of meditation, but maybe I can also help other people, particularly women, because I often felt like there was no coach, there was no mentor that I needed when I needed one in corporate world. And they exist, but I was not fortunate enough to find it. So I'm hoping I can be that person for other women.
And you are that person. Yes, you are that person now for other people. I think it's appropriate for us to shout out to Sura. That's where we got our certificate from. So it was a great program that helped both of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tremendously. Yeah.
It's a program that Sura uses Sura Flow, and it definitely brought a flow of energy to our life,
right?
Our entrepreneur life. And having said that, what I did in corporate, it was instrumental in helping me now. I used to always say, well, I have all these design and research skills. I should have my own business and just be my own designer and researcher. And part of what Tanya and I do, or what we do now, is we interview people. And I find it so refreshing. I get energized when I hear other people's stories. A lot of what I did in corporate was ethnographic research. And I just love just giving somebody that safe space.
Yes.
And their story will help others.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, I feel the same way.
So I think I answered your question.
Yes. Yes, you answered it very well.
Okay, so Tanya, another question for you.
Yes.
What is the biggest display of emergence to date when it comes to your business?
Good question. My biggest display of emergence to date, I would have to say, is my collaboration with you. It has pushed me to quickly learn and produce and put out content that would probably stay stuck in my head for forever or in files on my computer. I absolutely love this collaboration because I don't think there are many out there that are like it. And it's sad to say, but it's only because unfortunately many people aren't able to put their ego aside for long enough to collaborate with someone else. And it's not to say that we haven't displayed a couple of ego conversations, but they're never huge egos that are flaring and aren't able to listen to each other. So I think it's an amazing collaboration. I think it has to be the biggest display of emergence because it's pushing me to be consistent. And there's truly something magical when we're able to empower each other. And I would love for our listeners to be able to find that someone they can empower or be empowered by, because I feel like this is a nice little opportunity for people to just connect and come together, and be able to help each other out. So, and I feel like this could be a nice little opportunity for me to plug in our upcoming Mindful Mompreneur Moments podcast that will be launching in October, sometime in October. We're not sure exactly when yet. So I'm shamelessly putting it out there so you can stay tuned for that. All of you listening, stay tuned for our Mindful Mompreneur Moments podcast. That's it for me.
Okay, yes, absolutely. I'll start from the end and then work a little bit higher in terms of
that question. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So starting from what Tanya said, yes, we have, I guess, given birth.
Yeah, emerging into
as mompreneurs.
Yeah, emerging into another venture. Yeah.
Yeah, to mindful mompreneur moments. Why moments? Because as practitioners of mindfulness, we know that everything happens in the moment, awareness and breath. Now, absolutely, I agree with Tanya that this collaboration was one of the most organically natural things that emerged in our friendship. And I had put the intention out over a year ago when Tanya had interviewed me for her podcast that, my God, you have sparked something in me and I want to do something with you. And I don't know what that is, but I would love to collaborate with you.
Yeah, and you didn't even mention it really, eh? You just kind of put it out there in the universe.
Yeah,
you hadn't mentioned it right away. Not right away, yeah.
Yeah, so the emerging nature of what has occurred here is that the collaboration has allowed me to heal on some level, because some of the things that I experienced in the last 20 plus years in corporate was often feeling isolation and lack of team camaraderie. And I think I had put in the universe that I hope one day I can be around like-minded individuals. And when Tanya, when you mentioned ego, I think often when I hear the word ego, it's like somebody thinks they're better or something. But in the collaboration, that's not how I feel it. I feel like with us, it's been more like two people with the best of intention, who are very passionate and are driven. Because the moment we decided to start working together, it's like you were describing, like we started having this momentum around ideas and thoughts that were maybe good ideas, but they were in boxes, you know?
That's right. We had to open up the boxes and put them in the right places.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we have come up with schedules, ideas that have been mapped out for the next year. And it's not just ideas anymore. They're things that are being lit on fire and action is being taken. And we show up for each other, which is great. But what's exciting is, again, going back to the end, is it's given us an opportunity to give a platform to other women who we believe can influence and be a catalyst to the change that others are going through. Not just women, we have men that will be on our podcast. But they each have a facet, going back to multifaceted, they have a facet of what it means to live a holistically integrated, mindful life. And so I look forward to our listeners giving us some love in the near future when they start listening to our podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we truly want to be able to empower the guests that we have on our podcast and be able to share their light as well, because we are very much alike in the sense that we have the best interest of the person that we are interacting with. And so because we have the best interest for that person, we hope that also that person has the best, not even we hope, because we know that the people that we choose are like-minded as well. And so the power of connection and empowering each other, I think, is just going to go, it's going to skyrocket. So I always like to tell our audience, this is just like, you're going to see us make bloopers out of all of these initial things that we're doing, all of our lives. Oh, by the way, we do lives every Monday on our Facebook page. So we're going to put the links on the description of this podcast, but be sure to go and follow Mindful Mompreneurs on Facebook. But
every Monday
every
we go
Monday.
live, and we're the Matcha Moms.
Yeah, the Matcha Mindful Mompreneur moments.
There's a lot of
Mondays.
There's an moment.
Yeah, with all the M's. The M is longer. But anyways, we love to empower our guests and in turn empower our audience and then be able to see them thrive. So that's why we like you guys also to join into the conversation so we can see what you're doing, to see if you got inspired. And anyways, I'm going to stop talking, but we're getting so passionate about what we're doing. And so there's no doubt that we're going to be using these as bloopers, because, you know, we're going to start off with this technology that's dated. You see our screens are not high tech, but watch us, guys. This is just the beginning. I have a good feeling about this because the best of intentions are out there for everyone.
And just to give our listeners a little bit of a glimpse, in the month of September, the first set of podcasts will be coming out for Mindful Mompreneurs will be around the topic of emergence, which we will, that's our meta topic, emergence. And then next month is emergence and resilience. And then we have emergence and holistic wellness, and emergence and tuning in and healing. So that's for the next 4 months. And we have some great, I would call them souls, lined up. Beautiful souls with beautiful messages. A lot of anecdotes, like we will share stories from people who've survived a variety of life challenges that others can relate to.
Yeah. And stay tuned, guys. It's going to be a great podcast with some inspirational people.
So Tanya, without further ado, the final question.
Yes.
Insights. Give me your insights, Tanya.
Okay, so insights. I'm going to share one or maybe two. And I shared this on one of our lives, and it's operate out of faith and not fear. That's one of my biggest insights, to operate out of faith and not fear. One of what I like to call my virtual mentors, his name is Peter Sage. If you want to look him up, he's pretty good. Always says we live in a growth-centric universe, not a comfort-centric universe. So things are going to be thrown at us that will make us grow. It's not going to make us comfortable. It's going to make us actually very uncomfortable sometimes. And it just makes us grow. Whatever comes at us, you have to put it in the perspective of, how can I grow from this? We're here to grow, and love is at the center of that growth. So that would be my insight. How about you, Shilpa?
So my upbringing was strongly influenced by, and I would say my path was set at a young age without me even knowing, by Paramahansa Yogananda, my guru. And one of the messages that I've learned from my upbringing is fear nothing but fear itself, and keep on keeping on. And honestly, when I say I'm work in progress, I am.
Same.
I get teary-eyed because every day I have to show up for myself. There are days where I'm like, okay, well, because I set the bar really high.
Yeah.
Once you set the bar really high, it's so easy to get messy and fumble. And I'm going somewhere with this. My point is that it's okay to not be perfect. Show up every day and keep practicing. Mindfulness is a practice.
Yeah.
And be kind to yourself. So that's what I mean by fear nothing but fear itself. Keep on keeping on. And like Tanya said, have faith.
Yeah. Beautiful. I hope this resonates with a lot of people, because I'm telling you, you gave me chills a couple of times. So it was a great one. I think we were both kind of like, we're just going to have a conversation here, and whatever resonates. We'll stick to whatever. And we usually don't edit our stuff, guys. So what you get is what you get. So thanks, Shilpa.
Thank you. One thing for our audience, what Tanya just said, is kind of reiterating it, is that authenticity is one of our core values.
Yes, absolutely. So like I said, what you see is what you get. And we are a work in progress, as are many of our fellow humans. So bear with us, but stick with us, because I think that the guests that we have are inspirational, and I think we can all learn a lot from each other. So with that, I will say many blessings to all of you. Many blessings to you, Shilpa.
Many blessings. Many blessings to our listeners.
Yes.
And future listeners who don't even know they'll be listening.
Yeah, they don't even know it yet. Bye, guys.
Thanks again for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe, follow, like, and share. All of the links are in the description below. And continue to be omnipresent.